stream. Uh, Stream has disconnected. Attempted to reconnect 16 minutes ago. So we was basically disconnected for 16 minutes. What you see now? Is it back up?
Now I see is live. Now we're back on.
Is on the same one?
I don't. I think so.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. We can finish this last topic and then I guess how it uploads. I'll figure it out later. But for me,
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. For me, I'm just ready.
Yeah, we're live.
Okay. It came. The same stream came back on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I apologize, folks. Some kind of way it disconnected us. I don't know what's going on, but I apologize for all those who got dropped out. But yeah, for me, man, I'm ready for Nintendo to join the party. Not necessarily to. Actually, let me stop. Cause in order to join the party, you gotta want to compete with the other guys. So you can't have one without the other. You can't jump into the party and not compete. So I want them to compete so that we can get back to not. Nintendo does some amazing things with little. So I'm ready to see them do amazing things with a lot.
With a lot.
And I think that's what we asking for. I think we have played the game, played patty cake, and made excuses and said we don't need it. No, I'm ready. I bought the TV. I got a 4K TV. It got HDR. Matter of fact, you could go buy a 4K TV HDR for $400, 70 inches. That's where we at in life, folks. 4K don't cost that much no more. You think I'm? Yeah, you can buy right now.
What brand? What brand is it? First of all,
LG, Samsung, and Vizio. Right now, they older 4K models, but they got 4K HDR. You might not have a whole bunch of bells and whistles that you can tank with.
You can buy 4K TVs for that cheap, man. It's not.
Yeah, they out there now. Now you ain't gonna get no OLED or
QLED. Walmart has a $88 TV for Black Friday, 40-inch TV, 4K.
Yeah, you ain't gonna get the OLED or the QLED. You know, you ain't getting none of those. You ain't, because you can tweak just about every light, every tan, every shadow, every dark. You can tweak everything. No, we get these settings, but you will get some of that. Yeah, you can get. We bought one for the church, 70-inch Samsung 4K HDR. That must look good. Like, you couldn't tell me it didn't look good. So you got people that's already moving to 4K. It's becoming the resolution to get now. Like, people ain't buying 1080p TVs. So to me, Nintendo, it's time. To me, it's just time, man. It's time. I'm gonna stop making excuses. I'm ready for them, like D2K said. Go ahead and join the rest of the gaming world and go back to your revolutionary days. Go back to your N64 days. Go back to your GameCube days, Super NES days, where you wanted to take names and whatever else Reggie said. So anyway.
Chew bubble gum. And
yeah. So let's move on, because the cloud gaming on the Switch. To wrap it all up, I'm not impressed with cloud gaming on the Switch right now. It's not nothing that fascinates me. It doesn't run good enough to care about it. So let's move on. Cyberpunk has been delayed. So K-Bum thought this would be a good topic, and I think it is too. And we'll jump on it for about 20 minutes and we'll get out of here. Cyberpunk has been delayed. So is game delays a problem? Do you have a problem with companies delaying their games to make sure that they're right and up to the vision that they had for it? Go ahead. I started with D2K last time, didn't I?
Yeah.
Then I come with K-Bum. Go ahead, K-Bum.
Okay. Game delays. Well, start off with Cyberpunk and just game delays in general. So I think Cyberpunk has been delayed 4 times, I think. Yeah, I think 4 times this game has been delayed, and we're still waiting for this game to come out. And I was so excited. I was ready to come out. It was going to be probably the first game I buy on my next-gen system that's not a um, PS4 to PS5 upgrade. I was going to probably buy it direct on the PS5. I was ready for it, and then it got delayed. And so Cyberpunk actually sent out a message on both on all their social media, Facebook, Twitter. They sent it out to Facebook, and I saw it there that they had delayed it again.
Now it's still coming out this year though, right?
Yeah, still this year. Yeah, still
Okay.
this year. But I mean, it was supposed to come out like April or
Okay.
last year, something like that, and it got delayed to April, and then from April to September, from September to November, and now November to December.
Then they ain't gonna make that December deadline either. Go ahead.
No, they don't make that deadline. They better make that deadline.
I don't think they're gonna make
Man, stop playing with me in this game. So,
it.
how do I feel about this? Here's part one of how I feel. And because I'm going to direct it in two different places. The first direction is going to be towards us consumers. Problem number one is us consumers. We want it all. We want a game to be made fast. We want it to come out yesterday, and we want it to be bug free. We are upset if you delay. We are upset if you come out too fast and you have bugs. Well, it's funny thing is this: you come out too fast, you have bugs. We say you should have waited and made the game right. You wait and make the game right. We say why do you take all this time? Why you keep delaying the game? Just bring the game out. We'll deal with it then. And then they bring the game out early and it has bugs, and we get mad because it has bugs. Say why didn't you wait? And then wait again. Oh, we do this. We're unsatisfied with whatever it is if it doesn't meet our standard. So a lot of that puts these companies in a hard position, right? Do you because the community is going to be upset no matter what. The loud voices in the community. There we go. Is going to be upset no matter what because it's not the whole community. It's for the majority of the time is the vocal minority that is upset and it vocalizes. Sometimes it is the whole community. Sometimes it's not. And so us consumers, we want everything exactly when we want it, perfectly delivered, and then we take no qualms that that there are humans behind these games, and there's humans that are making these games who do have families and everything else, because we expect them to put the 80 hours in a week to get it done and get it bug free. And there's a bug, we expect them to take the 80 hours a week to fix those bugs and get the game that you spent your little $60 on working perfectly. So we really have these unrealistic expectations that we put on these companies. Let me tell you from the company point of view. So a lot of these companies, they like to use our I think who used to say this all the time, that we were crackheads. Shaw used to call us out. John Shaw call us gamers crackheads, because a lot of gamers, we are crackheads. We just gotta have it. And they do utilize and use that want to have it, that crackhead syndrome to drive and boost their game sales. And a lot of times they do get ambitious with their games. But even with most game studios, there's a disconnect between corporate and the developers. There's a disconnect. And so a lot of time, and I work in IT, so I know the disconnect sometimes when it comes to what we call the business. The business says they want a feature or they want something, and when you tell them how long it's going to take to do it, there's a disconnect sometimes, and say, well, it seems easy. Well, you're not the person writing the code for it. Yes, it seems easy, but I'm telling you, from the person who writes the code, who has to test the software, who has to do the research and all that this is how it's going to take. So for some companies, and this is where EA struggles really bad, because there's a really bad disconnect between the business and the developers. And a lot of time, the business leaves the developers out to dry a lot of times. And so these companies go out there and they have decisions to make, because they've already have advertisements, they've already made commitments to third parties, and they've already made all the decisions about releasing the game at a certain time. And it's a hard decision, because you have to check. Even your investors are now upset if you miss your deadline, and so it's a difficult thing. for a business to even make the decision to go ahead and delay a game. And it's also a very difficult thing to release a bomb like EA does so many times, just so many times. The most recent one is um, the Bioware game. What was that thing called? Forget that.
Andromeda.
Yeah, no, that was true. That was terrible. That was donkey terrible. But there was another one after that. It was
You talking about the one with the flying? What
yeah,
was it?
the fine you mean like neck or something like that. Uh,
Anthem.
Yeah, Anthem. Yes,
yeah,
Anthem.
epic
Anthem.
fail at release. Epic fail.
Dang, yeah, we don't even talk about Anthem. That was yeah.
Epic fail. The game didn't even
Wow.
work. Didn't even work the first couple of days. And so
Wow, I forgot all
they have to
about
make a
Anthem.
decision. Like I said, they have an issue with the business. The business just tells them, just release it. We'll fix it later. Gamers going to buy it anyway. We're going to be okay. And they have investors. They have it's difficult in both ways. But I'm going to end it on this. I personally applaud Project CD Red. I think that's how you say it, for delaying this game again. I applaud them because they are doing this not because they know they're going to sell millions regardless. They're going to sell millions regardless of the status of this game. And even if it's small bugs here and there, they're going to sell millions. But they made the decision to release a good game. I personally applaud them, and I hope they actually get back what they put in by releasing the game. One more thing, and my last point, I'm gonna leave it so you guys can actually talk. We saw a recent example of this, but it wasn't in video games. The recent example we saw of this, where the studio says, you know what, we're not doing it right. This is wrong. We got bad feedback from the community. Let us delay this thing and make a change. Was Sonic?
Mm-hmm.
Sonic was not released the way it was. They made a decision. They lost money because they had the setback. They had to put more developer hours in, more time. They had the crunch, and they were applauded for their efforts and producing probably one of the best video game movies there is. So I don't see too many places where companies have delayed a game and it received negative blowback, except for like Duke Nukem Forever. That's ridiculous. That was 10 years or something like that. That's different. But you don't find too many games that were actually delayed that either people lose interest about or they stop caring. There was another game, Too Human. If you actually remember Too Human, that came out for the Xbox 360. That got delayed by like a couple of years. And I think the problem was not because it was delayed, is that when it finally came out, it was still trash. So those are the only few examples I can remember of a game being delayed to be made better, and then it still flopped, or people still didn't want to buy it when it came out.
Okay. So basically, you don't have a problem with them delaying the game. That's basically what you're saying.
I'm unhappy that it's delayed, but I applaud them for making that decision, and I hope it pays off, and hope they make the game better, and don't have to worry about all these glitches, all these patches within the first couple of days of the game.
Okay. Okay.
I said a lot to say a little.
D2K, give me your thoughts. I don't want to keep us here too long because I don't know how long we've been on so far. What's your thoughts? Do you have a problem? I see you in the chat room too. Do you have a problem with like games being delayed, like what's going on with Cyberpunk? Is this a problem?
I guess it depends on what game it is and the reason why it's being delayed. If it's a game that has some bugs in it that they didn't want to release it in that state, and they want to just make sure the game is running as good as they possibly can run it. I mean, you like the game to be 100% bug free, but sometimes it's just not possible. but you can get it almost 100% bug free and maybe fix the rest of it in a patch later on down the line. I think most people are patient enough to wait for a game to be pushed back. So okay, because we're going to complain the game comes out and is janky anyway. So take that extra time and do it right. It's kind of like how we looked at the Halo at the little Microsoft event. We said this is not acceptable at all with
Craig.
Craig and them and whatnot. And so Microsoft said, yeah, we're going to put this back in the oven. It needs to cook a little bit more.
Yes.
And people applauded that decision.
Yes.
It wasn't like people got upset that they said they were delayed. It was like, good, great, all right, thank you. But as an artist, I kind of feel a different way about this because there have been projects that I've been working on for a while that sometimes you work on a project and everything just flows like butter. It's like, oh, this is great. And there's some projects that just like, oh, this is terrible, and I just can't get it to work. And you just say, I'll forget, I'll just try something else. Maybe I'll come back to this somewhere down the line. But there's sometimes you're working on something and some of it is okay, but there's one part of it you just can't quite get right. Like maybe the face is not quite right, and the arm or perspective is not right or something. You try to fix it, it's just not working, and you just keep trying to tinker with it and tinker with it and tinker with it. After a while, as an artist, you just have to call it project done and move on to something else. Because constantly trying to make it perfect actually causes damage to the overall composition. You start to mess up things that actually are working in the composition to try to fix something else that really at the end of the day is not fixable. And I think a good example of this would be Crackdown 3. Microsoft bit off more than they could chew in terms of what their vision was for Crackdown 3 by talking about how the cloud is going to give us all these real-time destructible physics and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But the cloud wasn't ready for all that.
Right.
They didn't have hardware ready for all that. Right. And that was too much of the game was surrounded or centered onto that. So when they realized that they couldn't do it, they basically had to scrap that whole concept and give us a completely different game than what we actually were sold at the beginning, and the game failed miserably.
Right.
And that game was in development heck forever. So sometimes, you just have to you have to look at where you are at the beginning. If you're biting off more than you can chew at the beginning, then no amount of development time is going to really help you. It's just going to continue to get worse. It's going to be like a snowball. It's going to keep getting bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill. But if what you already started off with was good and solid as it was, and then you had a problem or you hit a snag somewhere, then it's easy to fix stuff like that. You just need extra time. And people, for the most part, are understanding when it comes to something like that, because what we've seen from Cyberpunk looks amazing so far. I'm not that type. I'm not into that type of game, but visually it looks amazing. So it's not like we saw something that was garbage. People say, "Oh, you got to fix that." No, what we saw looks great, and people want the game, obviously. But they're saying that, well, there's some stuff that's not quite right here that you can't see, and we need to fix that before we can release the game. People are like, okay, well, we'll wait. So I guess this depends on, the circumstances of the development of that particular game.
I agree with that. That's a good point. It doesn't matter what kind of your base and what you're starting off with, and keep delaying just to produce more trash. I guess that's the examples I brought up with Too Human, with that it was already trash, and you delayed it, and it still came out looking like trash. You should just release the first trash you had and save your extra money.
Yeah, for me, I'm like this. It goes back to what you said, D2, and what K-Bum just said. I'm for delaying the game if it's really gonna play into the game being better and my experience being better. But if you delay the game and then when the game comes out, and I think Star Fox Zero was delayed if I'm not mistaken. I think it was pushed back. because of the controls or something like that, and they pushed it back and brought it back out, and it was still trash. It was still, it wasn't, it was jacked up. So to me, I wanted like a developer like who was the developer behind Cyberpunk? I can't think of their name right now.
CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red. I feel like they have a track record that we could at least give them a little leeway to, even if they say, hey, even this December deadline, we ain't gonna make it. We want this game to be the best it can be. We pushing it back even longer. I think then they pushed back Uncharted 4. I think they pushed back
the Witcher was delayed too.
Yeah,
and they did the Witcher.
Then they also pushed back God of War 4.
God of War 4 was pushed back. Uncharted was pushed back.
Right. But all them games when we got them, especially
I think Spider-Man was pushed back, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not for sure. But when we got the games, they lived up to the expectations that we expected.
Agreed.
Now, when other companies, like we know Bethesda, even though Microsoft bought them, and we all hope that Microsoft rubs off on them releasing broken games with day one patches. They need to learn how to delay a game and make it right. But if you're going to delay the game, at least delay it and make it work. Beyond Good and Evil 2. No, we don't know where that's at.
That is the game we don't speak of.
Yeah, so I don't have no problem with it. Yes, like you said, K-Bomb, it is disappointing when the game that you was expecting, Metroid Prime 4, prime example. That my heart sunk when that game was like we basically starting over from scratch. Like I didn't feel good about it, but I'd rather them start over from scratch and make a game that's going to live up and sell well enough to make another game than to put a game out, rush a game and get put out, and then it fumbles and bombs and get bad reviews, and then they see no need to put money into that franchise again. And so, because a lot of franchises have been sent out the door to die a quick death because they didn't put the time in to make the game of quality. So if you got to delay a game, delay it until you got the game that you feel like will represent your creation and your vision the best. That's how I feel about it. And to go back to also what you said, K-Bum, we can be selfish as gamers. And we always looking for the next thing. Sometimes I just think we just need excuses and reasons to spend our money. Cause some of y'all buy games I'm being real. Some people buy games just to say that they bought the game. And they can show that they own. And I'm like, I ain't gonna say no names. And I'm guilty. I ain't guilty of this.
No name.
I'm not gonna say no names, but I know some guys that I know, they be buying the games. They got a whole wall in games, but the next thing you find out, they ain't finished none of these games. And yeah, man, I still got to go back and. Why you buying the game and you ain't got time to play the stuff you buying? Is it that important to impress people that you don't know? For me, no, because I got a wife upstairs that I do know. And if I bring too many games in, my Best Buy card go up, and then I'm gonna be having a conversation that I don't want to have. So I don't care what y'all think. I'm gonna tell you, no, I ain't got the game. You see, I just bought Bumblebee and Dark Fate. Them movies been out for a minute. You see, I just bought them when they was $14.99 instead of $30.99 for 4K. So hey, delay the game, make it the best you can make it, then put it out there. That's how I feel about it. Carliz, if that game doesn't do Luigi's Mansion 3 numbers, Nintendo gonna say don't ever fix your lips to say Metroid again. You're right. Nintendo has got a knack for putting out games and they don't sell what they want, and you don't see them games again. Hence Metroid. That's why we ain't seen Metroid in a long time, because they don't consider Metroid, even though it's a part of the trilogy of what we love about Nintendo. Metroid is not one of Nintendo's big selling franchises. And that's why they reluctant. F-Zero is another one. That's why they reluctant to put it out. But they're going to keep giving you Mario.
Right. Well, taking a step further is that whenever Nintendo things don't work exactly the way they think they should, they jump away from it and they blame exterior factors when the actual fault lies with them, i.e. the GameCube. There was nothing wrong with the GameCube power. It was your short-sighted decision to be greedy and force people to use your proprietary disc instead of putting a regular DVD drive in there and an Ethernet cable so you can go online. That's what failed the GameCube, not the actual power of the system. So they made an excuse from that point on to give us underpowered hardware because the GameCube only sold 21 million units. But it was your fault.
Right.
If you gave us the Panasonic Cube instead of what we got, it would have been fine.
Yeah, so delayed. I mean, to me, delayed. You got it. Hey, if it's 6 months, if long as Breath of the Wild was delayed, how many years was Breath of the Wild that pushed back? I think the new Breath of the Wild 2 has been delayed. So, it ain't been delayed, but we ain't seen it since that initial showing. And it goes what you said, D2K. I believe them games going to another system. I think them games coming to something else. So, we'll see next year. COVID-19 has been an easy excuse to slow up. For Nintendo took full advantage of this year and all the chaos that it unfolded. Sony and Microsoft releasing new platforms. Nintendo pretty much went quiet and dormant and say, hey, play what you got. And that's where we've been. So, no, I don't have no problem with CD Red, Project Red, delaying Cyberpunk or any other company or development studio delaying the game to make sure the game is representing their vision correct and that we get a game that we enjoy and we get our money's worth out of. I'm cool with that. So if I got to wait 4 to 6 more months, I can swallow that and wait 4 to 6 more months. I'd rather do that than get a game that I'm going to have to wait until they patch 4 to 6 months later before I can even enjoy it. So, like Andromeda and Anthem and all the trash EA been releasing over the last few years.
God,
so anyway, with that being said, I apologize for all the hiccup streaming issues counted on. I don't know what's going on, but we hope y'all enjoyed the cast. I'm going to just sign out for all three of us. Tune in next time we get some interesting news to talk about. We will be back on here. That might be next week. It might be 4 weeks from now. Y'all know how we do. Don't get mad at us. Just love on us until we come back again.
Next gen is coming.
What'd you say?
The next gen is coming.
Next gen is coming. Hey, you should have your system by the next time we talk. Why? Well, shouldn't you?
I don't know. Amazon has not gave me the date yet.
So they ain't confirmed your system?
No, they have not confirmed.
Oh, okay, bud. You ain't got it.
Just so you don't know when it's coming, you just know that it's coming.
I'm getting it. I don't know when it's coming. They haven't confirmed.
You might not get the first shipment.
Yeah, I have no idea. So hopefully next week they'll confirm it because it comes out the week after that. So
okay, but
we'll see.
I'm gonna have the PlayStation 5 before you get the PlayStation 5. That's sad.
Probably.
Anyway, folks, we'll try to be back if there's anything interesting to talk about. We hope that y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully K-Bum has his PlayStation 5 before we get back on here, or at least the next few times we get on here, then we can ask some questions about how it feels. He can play the platformer game, and I might go up there and see what that's like on the OLED.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, I come up there and show him how to play a platform. It's been so long, he might not know how to play those type of games anymore. But till then, folks, thank y'all for tuning in. We finna get out of here. Deuces.
Deuces.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to see how this next year gonna turn out for your system.
I don't know, man. I'm not impressed yet by the PS5, man. I'm not impressed yet. So we'll see.
I just dropped $1,500 on this computer, so I'm gonna stick with this.
Yeah, you cool. You good?
All right.